What a great town Detroit is for music, and we prove that each and every year with the Detroit International Jazz Festival. It's the 29th annual Jazz Festival beginning August 29th down at Hart Plaza. And here to talk about music in Detroit, Terri Pontremoli, the Executive Director. Hey, good morning, and thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Yeah, this is going to be just a terrific festival this year, and there's a thematic connection that I think I'd like you to explain to us between the city of Detroit and the city of Philadelphia.
These cities are so similar in their feel and in their approach to music. And I thought that was why this would be a really good city to honor. I thought it would cause a lot of great reunions between musicians. Train himself is such a connection between the two cities that
that's right.
That to have the musicians that we have playing to celebrate this would be great. Last year we did Chicago. We called it the Rumble in the Great Lakes, and we were actually criticized because it didn't feel too much like a fight. It felt more like a love fest.
Well,
so I decided to go with love this year.
I like the love connection, and I love the fact that you're going to have a tribute to Marvin Gaye, who, with his song in 1971, boy, that really changed the sound of what came out of Motown with the song "What's Going On." And there's a connection too with Lem Barney, who's actually, I just read yesterday in the Free Press that he's actually on that recording, and of course was a huge Marvin Gaye fan, and he's going to be involved in the festival.
He is, and he's, we're all very excited about this. Christian McBride is our artist in residence, and Christian is not only a huge sports fan, but if you listen to Christian talk about his musical DNA, he says that he actually it's Motown.
Yeah.
Even though he grew up in Philly,
Sure.
but his mom was listening to the Temptations and Marvin Gaye, and he really, it's really in his soul. And when I started talking about with this idea with him a few years ago, he was like, "We've got to do Marvin. We've just got to do a tribute to Marvin." And so Lem Barney actually met with Christian this at our opening conference in April, and Christian was just thrilled for so many reasons.
Sure. Well, that's absolutely fantastic. So that takes place actually on the first
opening night.
On opening night, which is August 29th on the Chase stage. Of course, the show opens at 7 p.m. with Diane Reeves, and then that tribute. It's so
Who was
great.
born here?
Yeah, I know, she's native Detroiter, isn't it? We've had so much great music out of Detroit.
Yeah.
And then the tribute to Marvin Gaye with, as you mentioned, Christian McBride. And that's at 8:45 p.m. Now, let's talk about the multiple stages that are, if people have never been, describe to us the fact that there's more than one stage.
Yeah, we basically, it's crazy, and watching our wonderful fan base, our hip and informed audience, run from stage to stage to catch a little bit of this and a little bit of that. We basically have 6 stages. 3 of them are at Hart Plaza, the amphitheater, the pyramid, and the waterfront. The waterfront stage, basically, we do a lot of smaller combos, like Barry Harris, Kenny Barron, things like that. The amphitheater, we do a lot of the bigger things with big bands. The pyramid is an very eclectic stage. You'll see all kinds of interesting, some new things, some kind of crazy things like the ICP Orchestra. And then if you go up north on Woodward, there's a Kid Bop area that's on Larned, and then over beyond that on Congress, there's the Here and Now, which is dedicated to people that actually live and work in Detroit, as well as emerging artists, and then the Chase stage.
What I think is particularly interesting, too, is the Pepsi Jazz Talk Tent. Terri Pontremoli, tell us a little bit about that.
This is becoming really important. Our festival in the last couple of years has really embraced education. And just let me kind of take a little bit of a detour here. When I first came to this festival in 2005, there were like 8 high school bands that played. This year, we have 30 scholastic groups performing. They are from everywhere, mostly from Michigan, but in the college side of things, we have Juilliard, Berkeley from Boston, Brubeck Institute from Stockton. So we're really taking this seriously. The Jazz Talk Tent started off with Jim Gallert and Lars Bjorn, who are just so dedicated to the history of jazz here, which is so important. And it has grown, and we have been able to bring in national writers and panelists. And so this year we've got one of the sessions is dedicated to Marvin Gaye. It's What's Going On. Lem Barney's going to be a part of that, as is Christian McBride and Susan Whitehall. We're also going to do Diz in Detroit, Dave Usher from Detroit, DG Records, very, very close with Dizzy Gillespie. With Dizzy, there's this wonderful, wonderful Philly connection.
Yeah.
So basically, there's just going to be, and plus Meet the Artist. We're going to have a Meet the Artist session with Benny Golson and a Meet the Artist session with Jimmy Heath. It's just, we're walking around giants. These are giants, and it's so exciting that they're so accessible.
Well, you mentioned young people being involved because they are the future of jazz, and I noticed here at the Jazz Garden stage that you've even got some middle school bands there that come down and play. So what a thrill for those kids.
Well, and
what a thrill for the audience too, because you're seeing young people coming down and playing. Earlier this summer, we were involved with Chris Collins over at Wayne State, and they played down at Campus Martius. They had that summer, a week-long intensive jazz camp for kids.
Jazz Week at Wayne.
Yeah, and those kids, their winning ensembles are going to be playing. So what a thrill it is for them.
It's terrific.
I was able to talk to some of the young kids, and they're really, geeked up to
Oh,
be
yeah.
able to play in front of all these people.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a funny thing because, see, that's a partners of ours as well. And we brought Christian McBride this summer to that camp, and he actually spent a day teaching with those kids. So,
yes, I know.
and they were like, "Wait a minute, you mean he's going to be here at the Jazz Festival?" And I said, "Yeah, he's actually playing with you guys. So it's going to be wonderful."
I think this is pretty amazing. The Jazz Festival, which begins on the 29th, and it's free. People can come down. Here's another great thing that people can be involved with, and on top of that, it's free. I think that's pretty spectacular.
It's really unheard of at this point. A festival of this caliber, I don't know how sustainable this is actually, and so we are embarking on annual campaigns and trying to encourage people to become members in the same way that they support public radio. Write a check at Christmas time, show us a little love. $25 and become a member, because with that little bit of love, you long forget about it. Because if you came to our festival and you had to pay for every single act that you saw, you would be paying like $200 a day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's happening beginning on the 29th, and as Terri Pontremoli says, it is free. You can go to the website, check it all out. The whole schedule's there. It's all one word, isn't it? DetroitJazzFest.com. That's where they go. Boy, and it's not just people from Michigan that are coming to this jazz festival. You got people coming from all over the United States. Pretty exciting.
It's very exciting, and we've really grown in our recognition throughout the country. This year, we were voted one of the top 5 jazz festivals in the country in North America by the Jazz Times Readers Poll. And also, I know it's really, really exciting for us. And the Detroit Convention and Visitors Bureau did some surveys of our audience last year, and we found that 25% of our audience comes from out of state.
Wow, that's great. So it's really an economic engine here for our area too.
It brings like $90 million into the city every year.
Well, our own Tony Mowad's going to be there. He'll be hosting a number of the performances, and people can come down and have a chance to talk to Tony. Of course, hear great music, and as you said, Terri Pontremoli, is just deciding which stage you're going to be at. People are going to have to try locate this year.
It's really funny. That's why we do provide a very easy to read schedule grid. It's going to be in our program this year, so that if you buy a program for $5, you get the schedule grid, and you can circle where you need to be at what time.
Where you need to be. That's right. Okay, sounds good. Everyone should check it out. Go to the website. You can read all about it. DetroitJazzFest.com, and I should mention that you can also check out the free article, the Detroit Free Press, yesterday, August 13th. They've got the whole schedule in here.
Excellent.
And I have it pasted to my refrigerator. I always go to my refrigerator. Jazz and music go together. Music and jazz.
They absolutely do. Jazz and coffee, jazz and wine.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it works out great. Hey, Terri, thank you so much for coming in this morning, and keep us up to date. And probably we'll talk during the Jazz Fest to have you come in again and just give us an update on what's going on.
That'd be great.
Okay. Terri Pontremoli, the executive director of the Detroit Jazz Fest, year 29, still going strong. Don't miss this. Check it out. It's all free. It's happening here in Detroit. And it's on the web. You can take a look. DetroitJazzFest.com, all one word. Thanks again.
Thank you.
11 minutes after the hour.